How to find a good contractor in my area. In this episode, I'm going to cover how to vet and find the best contractors in your area to do business with. So stay tuned. We're going to follow up, go through all of how to vet them out, flush out the bad ones, and keep the good. First of all, what is a good contractor and what's a bad contractor? Well, let's just focus in on what is a good contractor. A good contractor is, what did we cover before? Someone that does what they say they're going to do. Someone that comes in on time, on budget. So I know these things sometimes don't always happen, but they're always looking at the budget, always keeping you aware of anything that's come up outside the scope of work that you guys have agreed on. So sometimes it's crazy. Like you'll agree on a budget. Let's say, for example, someone was telling me the other day they had an agreement with an electrician that something was going to cost around $600. Well, when the bill came, it was $3,500. That's not even in the same ballpark. So there's no way that I could do business with someone that's just freely writing checks like that. And when I do, and I get it, and I have had people approach me like that, don't get me wrong, and you might want to try this on them. Oh, I've been meaning to talk to you about that budget whole thing, the $600. It ends up I only have $20. That's my budget now. So I have $20 I could give you for that $600 worth of work that you're now claiming is $3,500 or whatever it is. Just as insulting as the $20 is the $3,500. I give them a taste of their own medicine. I ask them, I'll give you $20. Will you buy me a soda with it too? Anyways, you guys, pay attention to when people start moving those things. When you meet a good contractor, I also like to have things listed, what is included and what's excluded, because it's easy to always say, hey, that's excluded, that's excluded. Well, when you have them actually list what's excluded, now you could say, no, that was excluded. So it's actually in this piece right here, it should be included. Make sure in your contract you specify not just what's included, what you agreed upon, but what's excluded as well. All right, so let's keep going. A good contractor is going to be licensed and insured, bonded. So that way, if something goes wrong with the property, you can actually file insurance on it or file a claim against them. If they're registered with the state, they need to be. If they're not, you need to be careful. In some states, like I'm in Arizona, if you take a check and represent yourself as a contractor for over $1,000, it's actually a felony. So you could lose, you go to jail, there's a lot of bad stuff that could happen to you. And guess what? There's a lot of shady people doing shady stuff. I always say real estate is a low point of entry. What I mean by that, I don't have a college education, barely passed high school. I think the only reason they passed me, quite honestly, was to keep me moving. And so that being said, low point of entry, I could get into it. A lot of people could get into real estate. So you just want to be careful because, again, there's not a lot of testing and situations where people you want to look up and make sure they've taken the test, they're licensed, bonded, doing everything correctly. All right, so food for thought. Also, what I like to do is I like to go visit job sites that they're currently doing. I want to see where they're at in that particular job. Also, like, how do they take care of and handle their books? I got to tell you, the worst feeling in the world is when you give a contractor a nice big check and then they show up in a brand new Ford F-350 dually the next day. Guess where my money just went? They're going to be robbing Peter to pay Paul on that bad boy the rest of the time. So listen, be careful who you're doing business with. Also, when you do your draws, make sure they're ration those draws. So, and what I mean by that is, don't give a person the check for the entire amount up front. Usually break it into quarters, right? So let them do a quarter of the work, and when it's finished and signed off, do a quarter more, quarter more, quarter more. You could also hire a company that comes out and actually vets that whole thing for you, and it's not that much money. I think it's about $250 for every draw that you do, and they actually look at it, make sure they document it. And that works if you're out of state investor as well. They could go through and verify the things that are being told that's being done is actually being done. And this is by someone that actually is very, very familiar with the process. They're usually some sort of contractor or have been before in the past. Food for thought. You also want to make sure their pricing is on point. You don't want things too cheap or too expensive. Usually good things are seldom cheap and cheap things are seldom good. Being somewhere in the middle, like you're not driving someone, you don't want to totally take advantage of a contractor and drive them in and out of business. What you want to do is, like, if there's a mistake somewhere, make sure it's noted. You could carry that money aside for a contingency just in case it comes up. But you want to make sure that you're not getting cheap products and cheap quality work. So you get what you pay for often, but a lot of times people are trying to take advantage and see what you know or don't know as well. So pay attention to that as well. You don't have to pay a crazy amount. At the end of the day, you made your money on the buy on these deals. You want to make sure that you can execute and still have plenty of equity when you're done to pocket and have that profit to carry forward. I love to walk the jobs of contractors, especially if it's something on the market. I could see where they're cutting corners or where they're tight, where there's improvements to be made, the quality, how long this property's been on the market. Maybe take one that's under contract. I could take another look at it. You want a variety. You want to look at these things. You want to talk to the investors that they're working with and currently doing real estate deals for, how long they've been doing them for, and then any other type of work just with other people, right? Doesn't just need to be investors, but you want to get a good amount of referrals. How long have they been in business? Here's the thing. I know most of this is common sense, but if you get all these things written down, it's going to ensure that you don't get taken advantage of. If you're liking this video and you like these videos, do me a favor, click the subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a subscriber so I could show up and talk to you every single day. I need a friend. Will you be my friend? Subscribe. You got to be to be my friend, you have to subscribe. So do me that favor. Okay, so where do you find these? Where do you find these people? So you could run ads on Craigslist. Usually really hard to find good quality people on there. I do still run ads on Craigslist, and I have to vet a lot of people, go through a lot of people to find the good ones. But I know I've been doing it a while, so you want to be able to ask all these questions that I'm asking, right? Angie's List is another one. I've had great success with Angie's List. I think you could too. Home Advisors, that's another great place you could find solid contractors to do work. So you may want to look into going onto that site, registering, and then start interviewing some of these people as well. Check out their profiles. How many people have they worked with? Just read their reviews. Just do your due diligence. Another great area is just the BBB. If they're a licensed contractor, they're going to be rated with the Better Business Bureau. What is their rating? What are the comments that are being left there? Are they a credible business? If not, maybe keep it moving. Again, at the end of the day, this is your first initial area to vet somebody, is online, and then via their product, going out, checking out the quality of work they've done, talking to all of their clients of who they're doing and have done business with. You want to vet those all out. The higher the likelihood of them being a good contractor is. So do all these things, and I assure you that your risk will go down. Also, once you find a good tradesperson, because eventually what often happens is you start doing enough of these deals, you may have a contractor, but you're also going to start working with specific tradespeople that do just a niche thing. Maybe you have just a tile guy that does just your tile work, or your stucco guy, or a roofer. And pretty soon, now, instead of giving one person the power of the entire project, maybe you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different people that come in and do their jobs. Now, guess what? You just became a contractor yourself. Ultimately, that's the goal. That's where you're leaning towards. You become your own GC in this scenario. And then what you want to do, some states you just need to fill out some paperwork. Maybe that's not your cup of tea. You don't necessarily want to do it. But really, all you're doing is managing people's schedules. So when doing so, I always ask for, when I have someone really good, let's say I have a really good wrought iron guy, he does quality work, I often ask him or her, typically it's been a guy, but just being politically correct here, I'll ask for a referral. Do you have a good plumber? Do you have a good electrician? Do you have a good tile person? Do you have whatever it is I'm looking for? I'll ask my tradespeople, and they'll give me somebody. And then usually, if these are my keepers, I call them my keepers. I try to keep these people happy and make sure that they have work all the time. And if that's the case, they know how I work. And so they're not going to refer somebody that's subpar because it reflects poor on them. So usually when I get a referral, it's usually a really good referral. That's the number one place I get good, qualified tradespeople. So anyways, food for thought. That's how I do it. I recommend you doing something similar. Anyways, do me a favor, click on the link below. Let me know your thoughts on this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Take care. Chat soon.